Hello boys and girls, welcome back to another video. So this is again gonna be like a one-to-one video that I kind of want to share with you guys. It's not your regular vlog, as you guys can see. So this video we are going to talk about my experience with how I got my US visa and the kind of procedures to kind of get that. So guys, as you all know, your passport is weak AF, Indian passport. So I know I'm gonna get probably a lot of hate, but being to a lot of countries, I've seen that myself. I've been interrogated, I've been questioned. They look at you and they kind of give you a different face. So the only thing that I wanted to have is ensuring that you get a US visa, right? So making sure that you strengthen your Indian passport, and at the same time also get a lot of visa-free countries available for you to kind of visit quick, right? So you don't have to think before you probably book your flight tickets or something, right? Because if you have your US visa, it kind of skips a lot of queue, a lot of documentation, a lot of procedures in terms of getting a lot of countries visa. Like you can go to UAE or you can go to Singapore, Philippines. Again, Philippines is right now free, but a lot of places like Taiwan, like a lot of countries which kind of helps you to go to that country with the help of US visa, right? So just make sure that you have the right reason to get the US visa. At the same time, if you are planning to go to the US, of course you need to get that one. So guys, I applied for the B1 B2 visa, which is your business and tourism visa for getting the US. That's something which I have opted, so most of us would be going ahead with that. Quickly kind of share my story about how I got the visa and the kind of process in both the centers, right? So recently it's been a little difficult to kind of get the US visa, and I've been seeing a lot of posts around what's happening across, because the president keeps changing the rules, so you don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks, not even months, right? So this is my experience how I got my US visa, and I'm gonna show you guys or kind of share some of the key things that I did for my preparation for the US visa, right? So yeah, I'm not going to show you how to fill your DS-160 form. I'm not going to show you any of the your usual form filling and all that stuff. I know there are plenty of videos out there on YouTube to kind of get that for you all, but I'm not going to focus on any of that. So I'm going to link all the links for the filling of your forms, any of the articles, etc., in the pinned comment or probably in the description for you to kind of help to kind of fill the form. But this is mostly around my experience, like I said. So there are actually two steps for filling your or getting the US visa. So one is kind of having your biometric thumbprint kind of given to the embassy, and another one is your basic interview itself, right? So I kind of chose Chennai as the biometric center for me because it was kind of closer to me, and I was kind of also thinking if I would be able to get the slot for the interview also in Chennai, but unfortunately I couldn't get. So the way how I've seen is that you may not get the same center for both your biometric and your the actual interview itself. It's gonna be a little difficult, but unless if you are up in the north, it's gonna be kind of easier for you because you have your Kolkata, Mumbai, and also Delhi out there. But I'm really not sure how that actually works. But getting a slot itself is difficult these days, guys. So the way how I've been doing is I keep checking every then and there. Like I think 3:30, 4 o'clock is where the PM is where actually they put the new slots in, and I did see a lot of appointment dates also kind of popped up. So that's the way how I kind of selected my the center. And you can't select your thumbprint and your interview on 2 different days. It's one go, so you got to make sure you have both the slots ready. So you got to hit one submit button before you do that. So that's something which you guys got to keep in mind. So another important thing is, guys, just make sure you have that gap in between to kind of reach from one destination to another destination, right? So coming back to the way how I kind of went ahead with this is number one, I went to Chennai, like I said, guys, for the biometric. So for the biometric, I just have to get my passport. I got like all my passports that I have, like 3 to 4 passports for all the couple of years that I had in the last 5 to 10 years. And then I think that's really key, guys. They may or may not ask, but just ensure that you have all your passports handy with you. And you gotta print out your DS-160 form. Just make sure it is in color print. Just one go, guys. Don't forget to miss that out. And finally, your visa confirmation form with the barcode, right? So that is key. If you don't have that, boom, you're gonna be sent out and may ask you, I mean, probably they're gonna ask you to get a printout. Make sure that you don't fall into that pit, guys, because they're gonna charge you a lot. I think a printout is going to cost like 300 to 400 rupees or something, if I'm really not sure, but that's going to be a lot. And make sure you don't carry your phone or electronics or anything of that sort when you're entering the the campus or the center itself, right? Because to keep it in the locker, they're going to charge you like 500 rupees. Do not do that, guys. So just make sure that you have someone with you waiting outside, or just keep it in the your hotel and then go get the things done, right? So make sure that you don't make that mistake, and keep all the documents handy, and make sure you double check before you leave, right? As soon as you enter, there's going to be a long queue, and what basically they do is they're gonna put you in different slots, and you do have your water, you do get to use your washroom and all that basic stuff, so they do let you with that. But just make sure you stand in the line and have that proper discussion with the person who's appointed to you on the other side, right? So they kind of ask you to read a paper, like I think like an instruction or something, that you're giving your information, you're okay to submit, etc., etc. So they're gonna ask you to read that, and you're gonna say yes, and then you're gonna kind of make sure that you understood all the procedures. And most of the time they also ask you if you want to kind of converse in English or the regional language, whatever is available. So just pick that, guys, so you don't have to worry about the language barrier. So it's going to be as simple as possible, and they're going to make sure that they give you that option. So yeah, it's pretty easy, and I think this is more like the most simplest thing that you can do when you go to the US biometric center. Once that's done, I think this is where the main key, the factor of getting the visa is all about, right? So that is your visa interview itself. So for me, it was not in Chennai, not in Hyderabad, not in Mumbai. I had to go to Delhi, and also I kind of got the earliest slot, guys. So just make sure you go at the earliest, like maybe like I don't know, it was 8:30 for me a.m. in the morning. So make sure you get the earliest slot to kind of avoid the rush, and not at the same time people can get tired. So just make sure you get the interview whenever the interviewer is fresh, right? And yeah, that's the one thing to do. And I did not get any of my printouts done, like for example your pay slip, your leave documents, or any of your NOCs, your pension document. I have been seeing that people have been asked to get all the printouts, but I haven't taken any of that. I did not even take my itinerary printout, guys. Like I did not take my flight tickets, I did not even take my hotel bookings, nothing. So I just went empty handed with all the 3 documents. Like I said, same documents that you've taken for your your biometric is something which you got to take for your main interview date as well, your DS-160 form, your visa, the confirmation appointment, and finally your passport, right? Just carry all your passports like I did. So that's something which you need to take. And then yeah, I've been hearing that a lot of people were also asked to show their employment verification and all that stuff. So this is specifically for the B1, B2 visa, guys. So I arrived a little early in Delhi, so I was kind of in a long queue. So same thing, don't get your watch. When I say watch, electronic watch, nothing like no system, no phone, nothing, no electronics. So again, you gotta be very careful with that. If not, they're gonna ask you to keep in the locker again, which you don't have to keep when you have someone outside. So make sure you don't do that. And it's gonna be a long queue, guys. At least for me, it took like half an hour. So they're gonna ask you to kind of go through a full security checkup, and then once you pass that, you have it's more like a complete different area. I would say it's a different atmosphere overall, and then you'll be asked to stand in particular queues, especially like based on the visa that you applied for. They'll be calling you for the F1, B1, B2, all that. So just make sure you stand at the right place, and they're gonna ask you to go to the meet the interviewer. So that's where the main thing starts, right? So I've been standing in multiple queues. There are, I think, like 14 lines where the interviewers were taking place. The interview was taking place, and I did see a lot of people, like you can actually hear what the kind of questions they ask to the other members who are kind of going, right? So that's where you kind of question yourself, oh shit, am I gonna get, or probably am I really prepared for this, right? So but just make sure you're confident, guys. I think I always tell this in these kind of one-to-one personal videos. It's that one, be confident. Two, just make sure you tell the right thing, guys, and they can kind of figure it out based on your body language. So I think be make sure you're confident, make sure you are well dressed, right? And I think whenever you kind of speak, make sure you have that little smile on your face so that they're kind of taking it in a positive way. I think that's how I always treat. So yeah, there you go. I've been standing in the line. So they asked me to kind of go to this particular line. I went to the particular line and I was standing there. I was like the fourth person, and I can hear a lot of questions, right? Like, for example, why are you going to the US? Like, so they were saying like it's like a tour operated trip or something of that sort, and then they got rejected, boom. And I'm like, oh shit, man, I think it's going south for me, right? And then the next person went, and then they kind of asked like, hey, like, are you gonna visit someone? So that person said yes. Unfortunately, I don't know why they said yes, and at the same time they have someone, a member or someone there, which I feel like you shouldn't be saying in that way, because if you're, again, that person was applying for a tourist visa, because that kind of cuts the your chance to get the visa, because if you have someone there, most likely you'll be staying there in the US and you don't have any ties to come back. So make sure you have your right case, guys. So that's something which I've seen, like most of the people being rejected, and then comes my turn, right? So there you go, straight. I went straight to the person, and he was a really nice guy, a chill officer right there. He kind of greeted me, hey, how are you doing? I said, hey, I'm all well, thanks. How are you doing? So make sure you ask them also how they are doing, right? Because they have been waiting there for a long time, doing their job. Just being asked to them, like, how are they feeling is really good for them as well. And then he also said, yeah, very well, and all that stuff, right? So he asked, oh, I see you are going to the US on particular dates. I said, yes, I'm planning to kind of visit a couple of places. The next thing he asked is, which company are you working, or all that, even though all that has been filled in my DS-160 form. So I said, I'm working for so-and-so company, and also most of my companies are in the US. So, oh, nice. So he said, and he kind of had a word about the sport stuff as well, kind of tried to my company. And then it was pretty cool. And after that, he asked like, the last and final question for me was like, oh, I see you traveled to a lot of countries. What's your favorite country? I said it's gonna be very tough. And I said, recently I've been to, Philippines and Hong Kong. And I said, Philippines has my heart. And I think that's the country that I actually want to visit again, and make sure that, I explore that country a little bit more, right? And then he said, oh, well, nice. I'm going to keep your passport, and then you're going to get your passport probably another 7 days. I'm like, oh, wow, is that all? So yes, that's all for me, guys. So, and then I thanked him. At that point in time, I knew I got the US visa, and then, yep, I straight away head back right after that, and I just jumped out of joy. That's all I can say, because I never expected that this would be this simple. But guys, there's a lot of scrutiny, like in terms of getting it through, showing your documents. A lot of people were showing their documents as well. When they asked a lot of questions when it comes to like, what are your ties back to India? Like most of them did not have that solid, information listed. So that's one big thing. So make sure that you always prepare. Why do you want to come back to India rather than going to the US, right? So say that you probably have some, your own venture, your business, your home, family, loved ones. So you can say any of that, right? So make sure you have proofs for all that as well, right, guys? So that's key. So yeah, that was overall my experience for getting the US visa. I know you might be having a lot of questions, so I'm happy to answer, happy to kind of walk you through, or probably help you out in kind of filling the form or anything. Like, just let me know in the comment section, or just message me on my Instagram. Happy to help. I've been through this, so I can kind of help you guys out, but no surety in terms of how it can go, because I've seen both the ways, like people are getting and people are not getting. So it's all depending on your luck, guys. So just make sure that you stay confident, and you put a smile on your face, and then be well dressed, to kind of not to impress them, but to make sure that you know your stuff going on, right? So I think that's key, guys. So that's a quick tip from my end. And at the same time, if you have further questions like how to fill a form, I know I did not create a separate video for that, but just let me know if you guys want something where I explain the overall DS-160 form or any specific Q&A questions specific to US visa. I just put that in the comments. Happy to help you guys out, like I said again. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was kind of useful for you guys. I know there's a vlog going on currently in this channel, a different series going on, so please support that, guys. I really appreciate your comments, and yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Until we meet next time, cheers, bye bye.